Welcome back, disc golf fans, to the Front Nine coverage of Round 3 of the 2021 Portland Open, presented by Dynamic Discs. Brian Earhart at you one more time with Nate Perkins, and we are wrapping up our week in Portland.
Glenn DeVere, man, what a course. It's pretty rare, Brian, that no one shoots a double-digit round through 2 rounds.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard to see it in the final round as well. You have the rain looming in the background. We have the wind that's swirling almost worse than any place that I've played at. And as much as the wind has not crept up into the 15-20 mile an hour range, it's just enough to affect your shots. And it seems like it's switching constantly from crosswind to headwind. There seems to be a stretch on the course where there's a headwind going both ways. And we'll see how our card goes into this final round. Hole 1, 540. We have seen just a handful of birdies. We watched Nico LaCastro throw an absolutely ridiculous roller in round 2, getting the birdie. Let's see if our players can start the round off with a bang. And Thomas is definitely one of those players that can birdie this hole. If that flattens, it's going to be maybe circle 2.
If that just had a little bit more height to it,
Still has a run.
The angle, yeah.
Circle 2. Paul's also going to be going for it with a little turnover.
So Paul and Thomas are 4 back of Eagle McMahon heading into this round. And Paul is in full attack mode. That's the one thing you can always say about that man right there, is that if he's anywhere near the top, he's going for every shot.
Yeah, at this point, he's won so many big tournaments that second place is the same as 15th place to him.
This.
And here's Calvin Heimburg.
Check up. So close to perfection right there.
Going to be pin high, 20 feet from the basket, tapping it apart. And we have Austin Hannum. Huge sidearm and tomahawk thrower, awesome hyzer flip backhand thrower. And had kind of a slow start to the season, switching to Prodigy discs.
Yeah, this is a big moment for him, making this Chase Card final round here at the Portland Open.
Little low from Thomas. And Calvin cashes in the par after going out of bounds, and almost a picture-perfect shot. You hear the wind finally picking up to that 15 mile an hour mark that I was talking about.
It was the coldest day of the event as well.
Definitely.
It was like low to mid 60s. Strong putt right there in the wind. Got to give a shout out to course designer Dustin Keegan for parking this hole during the final round.
That's got to feel real good. Doesn't feel crazy. See, guys, I can birdie this hole. You can too.
I believe there were only 5 birdies throughout the entire event.
And it seems like almost all different ways as well. We saw the roller. We've seen some big flip-up fairway drivers. We've seen distance driver.
Yeah, Dustin did it with a DD3.
Moving into number 2, 693, par 4. What you see is what you get here.
You would think 690 with how many rollers these guys are laying down that we might have seen an eagle or 2, but not yet.
Super direct line from Thomas. And
that's clearing 500 feet on the flat rope.
Little high from Paul. That's stalling out early, but that will still have plenty of distance. He'll have some sort of sidearm into the green.
Calvin, the only one that I've actually seen throw through the center gap right there.
It's just the shot that he thrives on. He loves throwing just straight, direct, simple, low lines. And
Ooh, Austin hit that hard.
Yeah.
Oh, he forced that disc over. Might have a tricky approach from there.
Oh, and a little slip from Paul. That's got a spike. And gets a skip off that hard packed dirt. He's going to be circle 2. Yeah, Austin actually gets a nice little kick off that tree. He's going to be putting for birdie. Mm-hmm.
Wow, look how far this air shot is.
I'm sure he's okay with that. This is a big birdie putt from Paul. Swing. Oh, and he just cashes it in on the strong side. Please rewind that.
The speed control from that distance.
Any faster and that might not have stuck.
Yeah. You've touched on it a few times, Brian. The difference between putting through the chains and putting into the basket. That man is a master at putting it down and into the cage.
Oh. Austin cashes one in on the strong side as well. That's a birdie for him. And these are the putts that are really crucial out here because this is the stretch of holes that you know are birdieable and there's some room for error out here. As we get later into the course, the moment you throw a bad shot or a shot that you don't think is hitting your line, you're not going to get a birdie.
Yeah, just from the distance that you have to cover alone. The tree looks like it's in his way. Might have to go Annie a little bit.
Oh. Just off the top. Par for Calvin.
All right, hole 3, 777 feet. We got a low ceiling gap that's a couple hundred feet off the tee. We've seen power roller on this left side, and we've got OB deep and left of this pin. The green gets a little tricky. Here's that power roller.
And that's going to give him a look to the basket for a birdie, but again, going into that green, like you said, it's tricky because the grass is so thin and there's OB behind it. Coming into the green with a fast disc is very difficult. Paul's has a little better trajectory. That's going to make it out to the open.
Yes. Huge.
Yeah.
It's going to have a zone approach from there, I imagine.
Austin going inside roller. That's exactly where you want to be.
Wow,
he'll be able to choose sidearm or backhand. Yeah, listen to that crowd.
Roaring.
I believe I heard 1,500 spectator passes sold.
Really? That's amazing. This really is one of my favorite disc golf cities. Stumptown.
And Thomas coming in with a little faster disc.
Slow down.
And there's that skip you don't want, and he is just out of bounds by about 6 inches.
See how fast that green was.
Looks like Austin sticks his inside circle 1.
Draco from Calvin.
Perfect ground play. It's going to be a birdie for him as well. And Paul's coming in with a backhand, it looks like.
This is Luna. Oh, that was a miscue right there. Wow. Didn't even make it to the circle.
And you wonder why he opted for the backhand on that one. At least the putting stroke is feeling good. That's a par for him from about 45. We've been seeing it from him all weekend. The putting stroke looks fantastic. He's just got to stay away from those micro mistakes. The closer you get to the top, something like that's going to shoot you down the leaderboard. Thomas gets a nice birdie. Or I believe that's a par from... Oh, Thomas did hit early. My apologies.
That's a good up and down from Austin and Calvin. Pretty far out there with those forehands.
Moving into number 4, 393. We're seeing a lot of outside Anheuser's, outside rollers with something flippy in their bag. We are seeing a few players go up the gut with a backhand. Chris Clemens went for it with a forehand and threw a pretty good shot. Austin's looking wide here.
Laying down the roller. It's got to be so flippy. Oh, and just a little bit too flippy. It's hard to get it to flip that quick. Oh, come on, Calvin. Give me up the middle.
Too much real estate out to the left.
Yeah. Wow.
And he went pure Anheuser,
Yeah,
and I think he's putting for birdie from there.
It's such a big shot to not have it flex out at all and still get it to... I mean, it's just one arc, and it's at 400 feet.
And that is a quick flipping roller from Paul.
Keep traveling. Hit a tree.
And it does. He's going to be working from about 45, 50 again, but...
He's already made 2 of those.
Exactly. He's definitely getting his practice in. So he's going to probably have to just teardrop this one. Just left.
That one was in the heart from just outside the circle.
He has one of the more unique trajectories on his putt. Almost looks like it's levitating when it comes out of his hand.
Yeah, one of the few players that doesn't really use his legs at all.
Nope.
I've grilled him a little bit about it, and it's all about that last minute popping the disc up to get that nose down. He's doing all the work with his wrist and with his hand. All right, hole 5, par 4. This is one that we are also seeing these players choose to not take the intended line through the trees, and they are just going outside, ripping this roller. We've seen the rollers go into the sand trap. We've seen them go deep across the sidewalk.
Yeah, let's see if we can get one to stick on the green. Would love to see an eagle out here. Calvin going pure max distance line. Look at this thing pan.
Goodness.
And it's still faded out early. There was still some room left to fade to the right, too. That was a huge shot. Big flex sidearm from Austin, actually going up the gut. And that's going to pay off for him. That's way up the fairway as well. It's definitely not going OB long like Nico's roller yesterday. And this, if it stands up, could be good.
Yeah, going that wide early here on hole 5, it's hard to cut it close enough to those early trees and get it to curl back and to the right. That tends to be the common miss, is too much cut on the roller.
And I feel like that's the line. You let it fly a little bit more on Anheuser with something a little flippier.
Oh, and it's curling back.
And that's going to be a jump putt for a birdie for Paul. And maybe an eagle if he's wanting it.
And Austin just playing that one textbook, going forehand up the middle and then forehand approach right there with his A3. He knew it out of his hand.
Calvin, pretty simple up and down.
Paul looks like he's kind of going for this one. No.
Wow.
Ryan. It's in the sand trap.
Oh, no. And Thomas cuts through the left side from the hazard. Paul's going to tap in a par after a completely unforced error.
Hopefully that stroke doesn't come back to bite him. That was you said it, unforced error. That should be a birdie all day. He's inside 100 feet.
And I don't even think he was trying to run the eagle putt on that one. Calvin's looking like he's putting together the round you're supposed to. Same with Austin. Hole number 6, par 4, 741. Giant righty turnover down this beautiful fairway, this church pew style sand bunker guarding this basket on the hill. OB off to the left if your turnover fights out early. That's pretty much the big danger there, but for the righties, it's bombs away right here.
Yeah, this one sets up great for a huge shot. It's slightly downhill, ton of airspace.
But I think there's that same crosswind there was yesterday.
So it's just getting on top of that right wing there and just slamming it if it has too much angle. But just the opposite, if you don't get it turned over enough, you get it nose up and it's going to stable it out early on that left side out of bounds.
Yeah, so you want to get that Anheuser on the disc, but you want to give it extra height so it does get shoved down, but then flexes out and still has room to do that at the end. Kind of a similar result to Paul. His starts to fight out. You could tell that was a little bit more overstable of a disc. And let's see if Thomas can make that final correction. And he goes steep angle. Was he going for a roller here?
I don't think
that
he
was.
Really
it
was
steep.
Right in between those shots, though. He's way back there. I wonder if he's still attacking on this. Oh, and he is. He's sending this forehand.
And he is in the hazard yet again.
You could hear him ask why he did it.
Austin was far enough to the right.
What a shot.
To go right side of the fairway.
He had to hit a gap or two right there, and he skips off the path.
Got to sit down. There's a bunker behind the basket as well.
No.
And he doesn't go far enough. That is out of bounds. First big mistake for Calvin. And Paul puts himself to just outside circle 1 as well.
It's a tricky green to putt on. There's just enough of a slope.
Yes, Thomas.
This really like to run away on this green.
Definitely. From the sand bunker, with the hyzer angle going straight towards the OB bunker behind the basket, that is a pro-level par save right there. Paul for birdie. Yep.
He's made a lot of circle 2 putts this event.
Yeah, he looks dialed right now, and it's just crazy how the driving, which is usually his strength, is what's holding him back right now. If he gets both of those categories together, I think we're going to see 2015 Paul pretty quickly. That is a nasty birdie from Austin.
Yeah, what an up and down from that right side.
So many of those big mature trees back there he had to weave around. Hole 7, Nate, we have the elbow shot, 1263. What are you seeing here?
Well, you need 450 off the tee to get to that Mando tree to be able to then head around this corner and then set yourself up for a 350 to 400 foot approach to a pretty tight green with OB deep and OB short.
This final shot to the green is a definite Bushnell shot. It's so deceivingly long. And look at this line from Austin.
Yeah,
That was
big shot right there.
Nice and easy 480.
Yeah, it's 560 to the front of that OB golf green that you can see straight ahead. So these players don't really have to take anything off.
Paul puts his within 5 feet of Austin's. Playing it left gives him a bit better of an angle.
And look at Calvin just exceed their distance right there, and that really never got to flat.
A few misfires today from Thomas. Sit down.
Oh, it tried.
And it does. Let's take a quick jump back to Calvin's throw. He does that patented double clutch in the middle of his approach.
You're talking about with his right arm.
Yeah, his right arm kind of does like a little bit of a clutch in the beginning of his throw. But again, bracing against the front foot, full turn on the follow through. Another player that uses his length.
His form checks are
incredible.
Awesome.
Sit down
for the interstate. Oh, I didn't see the out of bounds symbol. Maybe hit the fence. Look at this eagle turnover and just slide.
Oh, he was about 5 feet from getting that slide in that short grass. He's still going to be a long ways from the basket. Paul's in a decent spot. I would say that's about 380 to 390 from the basket. And Austin puts a great move on this sidearm, and that right there is where you want to be. And he gets a little roll forward.
What a big forehand.
Yeah. Coming into that green with a slower disc is very coveted. And Thomas looked like he was safe. Throws a little putter to the landing zone. Big hyzer over the OB from Calvin. This looks good.
Yeah, I think this approach is one of the signature shots on this course. That pond, all these massive trees, just such a beautiful green. Oh, that is money.
And he finally puts himself into circle one, not having to work as hard as he has been in the past few holes. And Thomas is also in C1. This could be a good save for him. Another textbook play from Austin.
Wow.
Beautiful drive, clean sidearm approach, another clean sidearm approach.
Ooh, yeah, tough wind right there for Thomas. A little bit of right to left.
Especially for the way he putts, it's probably a very tough wind for him to keep under control.
Paul with a similar wind here.
And there's a little bit easier birdie for him. 28-footer on the elevated pin. Austin gets his third birdie in a row. He's playing fantastic right now.
He is really in control of his shots.
And another bogey for Thomas as we move into number 8.
Hole 8, one of the tougher par 3s on the course. Says 438, plays more like 475, low ceiling. We've seen roller on that back door on the left side, but we have not seen a lot of birdies on this one.
Austin going roller here.
Stay up there. Stay up.
Oh, and it gets over.
And they're asking for it to stay up. We've seen these run down these golf tees right here, and he's circle 2 though.
That was probably one of the better rollers we've seen out here. I think Paul's going to do the same thing.
Look how committed he was to that one, and it is finding that back door.
Oh, and he gets it. He's definitely putting for birdie from there. Matching, if not beating, Austin's roller. And of course, Calvin just goes for the laser beam air shot.
Wow, the amount of angle that Calvin brought that disc back on in his reach back. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
He
long.
went around the trees.
Yeah. He's 35 long.
Oh my God! Why are you early?
A little bit of frustration from Thomas. Back to back. Early releases off the tee.
Yeah, someone like him with such snap and such power, I feel for him. That's those feelings on the course when your body is just not cooperating with you. Hopefully he can slow down and kind of figure out what's going on. Air shot birdie. We finally see it, Nate.
It's nasty,
Thank you,
Brian.
Calvin.
And just the laser focus that he just had right there.
And Thomas's struggles continue. Misses on the weak side.
Okay, so just outside the circle here.
I think we're
Fourth
starting to
C2
feel-
putt
Yeah.
in 8 holes.
We're starting to see a little fire.
And again, this is his last event before the World Championships. We've got a Pro Tour next weekend, or Silver Series next weekend, or the Utah Open, and then a week off, and then World starts on
I
a
believe
Wednesday?
Tuesday or
A
Wednesday.
Tuesday?
Yeah, it's a 5-round event. We move into number 9. There were only 3 birdies, I believe, on this hole in round 3. Just such a long, challenging hole. I throw it as far as you can. Throw it as far as you can. Throw a roller up the hill.
And look, it's playing into a slight headwind right to left
Oh,
today.
that is not an easy gap that Paul just hit.
No, he's throwing the hyzer, using a little bit of that helping wind. That's just at the short side of where you can be to still consider birdie.
Calvin throws a pretty good shot, but as you can hear, the wind is definitely ripping. And again, anything in the golf fairway
It's still possible.
is, yes, definitely. Austin's still going aggressive. Roller gets to a decent spot. This one averaged a 5.7 on the day. Little stiffer headwind than we were used to seeing in round 1 and 2. Tries to get a roller up the hill. Sit down. Come on. Okay.
He's not quite at the crest. Oh, flipping maybe just a little too quick there for Austin.
And I think it's just so tempting to throw the roller uphill because of how much distance you lose trying to throw an air shot up this steep of a hill. I think Paul's doing the same thing. Okay, so he is going to go air shot on this one to get to the top.
Oh, didn't quite get on top of it.
But he is still at the top of the hill, but he has a long way to get to the pin.
Yeah, it's a solid 500. If you can just see the basket on top of the hill, it's 500. If you can't, it's out of question.
Yeah. Thomas throws a big air shot with something pretty overstable. He still has some work to do, but can at least save a 5. Look at these air shots from Austin.
So many huge shots.
I've seen him throw far before, but it looks like he's potentially leveled up his distance in the past, month or two.
Right now.
Also looks to be in fantastic shape. I know put a lot of work in the offseason to get in better shape. Lost about 20 pounds from what he said.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can kind of see it in his face. He definitely looks lean, looks healthy.
Yeah, him and Katrina put in a lot of work at the gym, and it's showing in their endurance at these tournaments.
I know Katrina is on the carnivore diet. Do you know if Austin is also?
I do not know.
Little A3 approach right here.
Yeah, that's going to be a 5 for him. Sit down.
Oh, okay. Checked up.
Right side from Thomas. Believe that's going to be another bogey for him. Paul taking 0.7 strokes on the field.
Paul, Calvin, and Austin are all in the contention.
They're totally in the mix.
Yeah.
This is a course that you can easily score over par at, no matter who you are. Front 9 is done. And we are looking at quite the race moving into the back 9. Anything goes at this point. Our leaderboard is full of hot shooters right now.
Okay, so Paul is 3 back. Yeah, we've got a ball game.
Make sure to subscribe to Gatekeeper Media on YouTube. Again, I'm Brian Earhart. He's Nate Perkins. We are signing off.